Video game recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a first-person shooter game called Halo, Combat Evolved. Spoilers ahead. Be sure to subscribe for more. The game begins. We're in space. A strange ring structure is floating in the void. Tilt up to see a massive spaceship guided by small fighters. We hear a male voice as the name of the ship. The Pillar of Autumn becomes visible. The male voice addresses an AI named Cortana. Cortana says that the Covenant are already here. The two go back and forth, trying to figure out how the Covenant tracked them. Cortana lets the captain know that Covenant battleships are just seconds away. The captain brings the ship back up to combat alert, Alpha, everyone gets ready to fight. Cortana appears as the captain and her plan something big.
Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
Cut to a hangar. Ships and tanks can be seen everywhere. Soldiers are running about. A jeep turns a tight corner and we cut to a soldier, clearly in charge.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
The soldier, clearly in charge, addresses a group of Marines. They're planning on a big battle. A voice comes on over the intercom. They're re-engaging the enemy. Cut to digital display. The words, "Unseal the hushed casket," are visible. Two soldiers are surprised, but then start the thawing process. The camera tilts up. In the room below we see a soldier in green armor, frozen in cryosleep. The container opens. The soldier steps down. Cut to the bridge. The green soldier speaks with Captain Keyes. The captain welcomes Master Chief, and fills him in on the situation. Covenant superior battleships are approaching. Cortana calculates their odds of success, then greets Master Chief. Suddenly the ship is hit. A boarding party has attached onto the Pillar of Autumn. A soldier gives a status update. The main cannon is offline. The captain makes a tough call. The crew is abandoning the Pillar of Autumn. The captain tells Cortana she must abandon the ship too. He says he's going to land the Pillar of Autumn on the strange ring structure.
The protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship.
The captain, now addressing Master Chief, gives him a mission. He must get Cortana off the ship. Cortana is filled with important military information. If the enemy captures her, they will learn everything. Cortana appears again. She finalizes the plan to abandon the ship. The captain pulls her out of the system and gives her to Master Chief.
Good luck, Master Chief.
Cut to Master Chief. He throws a Marine into a drop pod, and the pilot hits the throttle. Master Chief moves to the front of the drop pod. The ship is heading towards the ring structure. As the drop pod gets closer to the ring, the Pillar of Autumn flies past them. The captain is crashing the ship into the ring. The drop pod enters the ring's atmosphere. The screen goes white. Now, we're right above the surface of the ring. The drop pod is still out of control. The pilot tells everyone to brace for impact. The ship crashes. Master Chief steps out of the drop pod. The surface of the ring resembles an Earth-like planet. Master Chief fights his way across the ring until he reaches a strange building. A blue energy is pulsating straight into the sky. Master Chief is joined by other soldiers. They fight off waves of Covenant aliens. Once the aliens are killed, a pelican lands, and drops off a warthog, a type of jeep. Master Chief and a small squad of Marines drive the warthog underground into a strange alien bunker. They fight through another wave of Covenant. The group reaches a large void. Master Chief extends a massive energy bridge. The crew resurfaces above ground. They head towards another alien building. Master Chief and the small group of Marines fight through a large group of Covenant, guarding the building. The Marines continue across the ring, searching for survivors. They check the last drop pod. There are no survivors. Master Chief climbs aboard a Pelican airship. The group of Marines leaves. It is now night. A new mission is underway. Master Chief and a group of Marines is dropped at another location on the ring. The group fights through waves of Covenant as they push further into a valley. Eventually they arrive at a clearing. Covenant surround a purple energy beam. The soldiers stand on the platform in the center of the purple energy beam. They're lifted into a Covenant ship. Master Chief and the Marines fight through groups of Covenant. The group makes their way through the ship, clearly looking for something. They arrive in a massive room, clearly used to hold prisoners. Master Chief unlocks a cell. Sitting inside is Captain Keyes. He survived the crash. Keyes informs Master Chief that he's overheard the Covenant and learned that the ring is called Halo. The ring has deep religious significance to the Covenant. They believe it is a super weapon, capable of vast destruction.
The Covenant kept saying that whoever controls Halo controls the fate of the universe.
Cortana informs them that Covenant crews are searching for the control room of Halo. Captain Keyes gives Master Chief a new mission. Beat the Covenant to the control room. The group of Marines leaves. They have to get back to Halo's surface. Master Chief and the Marines fight their way to the hangar. They steal the Covenant ship, and barely make it out safely. Cut to a new mission. 2 Pelicans are flying low over a beachhead. A building is seen for a brief moment. This is the new target. The ship lands. Master Chief jumps out with a squad of Marines. Master Chief and company fight their way through the groups of Covenant. They're searching for the building. The group eventually finds the building. They fight their way inside. Master Chief finds a security terminal. Cortana tells him this is not the map room. Once activated, we see an armored Covenant emerge from a previously closed door. The enemy is coming. A mayday comes over the radio. Marines are under heavy fire on the beach. Master Chief moves towards the beachhead. In the distance we see a downed Pelican. The Marines didn't make it. In the wreckage, Master Chief picks up a rocket launcher. He hops into a warthog and moves down the beach, looking for the map room. Master Chief finds another building. He enters, fighting his way through another group of Covenant. The building is huge. Cortana lets him know that the map room is on the bottom floor. Master Chief reaches the map room. He learns about Halo's infrastructure. Cortana informs him about the location of Halo's control center. The location is some sort of temple. Cortana tries to reach Captain Keyes. He's out of reach. Master Chief exits the building. He hops onto a Pelican and they take off. Scans indicate there is a network of tunnels under the surface of Halo. The Pelican descends and enters through a silo. Master Chief gets off the Pelican and makes his way deeper into the underground network. He emerges, suddenly in a snowy environment. Cortana remarks that Halo may be malfunctioning. As Master Chief makes his way across Halo, a team of Marines contact Cortana. They regroup on the ground and make their way across the surface. After fighting through hundreds of Covenant, Master Chief arrives at Halo's control center. Master Chief crosses a bridge and arrives at a control panel. He patches Cortana in. Cortana learns that the Covenant uncovered something while searching Halo. Now they're scared of what they've found. Cortana becomes tense. She tells Master Chief he needs to find Captain Keyes immediately. His search for weapons is not what he thinks it is. Cut to a new mission. A Pelican drops Master Chief in the middle of a dense forested area of Halo. Master Chief fights his way through hordes of Covenant. He eventually arrives at an underground facility. He hears a strange noise coming from the other side of a door. As the door opens, he catches a dead Marine. Master Chief locates a Marine's helmet on the ground. He accesses the helmet's recording to find out what happened to the soldier. Cut to the soldier's helmet recording. The group finds a Covenant body, mutilated from the inside out. Captain Keyes arrives. They try and figure out what killed the Covenant. A message comes over the radio. Another group of Marines are under attack. We find out that the attackers are not the Covenant. The group is now under attack. Strange alien creatures soon overwhelm them. The recording cuts out. Cut back to Master Chief. He's now standing in the center of the room where the Marines were attacked. The doors open and the same alien attackers swarm the room. Master Chief is surrounded. Master Chief fights his way out of the room and through the facility. These strange alien creatures and the Covenant are everywhere. Master Chief reaches an elevator. As he ascends, communications are restored. As Master Chief reaches the top, a group of Marines greet him. The Marines regroup, and fight their way to a nearby tower. As Master Chief gets to the tower, a small flying robot appears. The robot introduces itself as 343 Guilty Spark. He tells Master Chief that the aliens that attacked him are known as the Flood. His function is to prevent the Flood from leaving the installation. He requires Master Chief's help to prevent the Flood from leaving. He teleports Master Chief away. The communication signal is lost.
Chief, I've lost your signal! Where'd you go? Chief! Chief!
Cut to the inside of a massive temple-like building. A strange alien artifact floats down from the ceiling of a distant room. Master Chief rematerializes. Guilty Spark tells him he needs to find the index. Master Chief fights his way through hundreds of Flood as he follows Guilty Spark through the structure. Eventually Master Chief reaches a central chamber with a massive elevator in the middle. He ascends to another level of the building. Guilty Spark leaves to go activate defensive drones that assist Master Chief. Each floor is crawling with Flood. Master Chief pushes on. He eventually arrives at a central elevator. He descends and takes control of the index. Guilty Spark grabs the index from Master Chief. The robot tells Master Chief he's vulnerable to the Flood and then disappears. Guilty Spark transports Master Chief to Halo's control room. Master Chief takes the index from Guilty Spark. He inserts the index into the master control panel. The control panel springs to life. Guilty Spark is confused.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
Suddenly Cortana appears and stuns Guilty Spark. She stops Master Chief from going through with the plan. Cortana reveals that Halo is designed to wipe out all sentient life. Halo is the only way to stop the Flood.
Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever.
Master Chief confronts Guilty Spark and he reveals the truth. There are other Halo rings all designed for the same purpose. Guilty Spark says they must activate the Halo ring. Master Chief refuses. Master Chief and Cortana don't activate Halo. They try and leave but Guilty Spark activates drones and orders them to attack Master Chief. Master Chief and Cortana fight their way out of the control room. Cortana reveals that Master Chief must destroy Halo. Master Chief activates various fusion reactors. He will use these to destroy Halo. Cortana teleports Master Chief to a new location. Cut to a strange part of the world. Covenant and Flood are fighting everywhere. Master Chief rematerializes on a crashed Covenant ship. Cortana sent them to the wrong place. Master Chief fights through Covenant and Flood. He eventually reaches a working Covenant ship. He beams himself up. Master Chief is looking for Captain Keyes. They've tracked him to this location. Eventually they find Captain Keyes. He's already been infected by the Flood. Master Chief pulls out a chip from Captain Keyes' head, before he becomes fully transformed. Master Chief steals a Banshee, a small Covenant fighter, and escapes from the Covenant ship. Cut to another location. The camera tilts up to see the crashed Pillar of Autumn. Master Chief docks inside the Pillar of Autumn. The ship is swarming with Flood. Master Chief fights his way to the bridge. Master Chief plugs Cortana into the bridge. She begins the detonation sequence of Halo. Cortana locates a way off of Halo and gives the information to Master Chief. As Master Chief is getting ready to leave we hear Guilty Spark. He's managed to disrupt the detonation sequence. Guilty Spark sends drones to attack Master Chief. Master Chief leaves the bridge and makes his way through the ship. He blows up multiple reactors to start a chain reaction in the engine. The chain reaction starts. Master Chief and Cortana attempt to leave the ship. The clock is ticking. The ship is about to blow. Master Chief finds a warthog. He must escape before the Pillar of Autumn explodes. Master Chief reaches a ship just in time, the Flood, swarming all around him. Master Chief and Cortana leave the atmosphere of the planet, escaping just in time. Master Chief looks out the window. The Pillar of Autumn explodes and Halo breaks apart.
Did anyone else make it?
Cortana tells Master Chief that they're all that's left. Cortana tries to reassure herself that they did the right thing.
Halo, it's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to leave a like. Comment down below what video game we should recap next. Thanks for watching.